Hey, my man.
Hey, hey!
How goes it?
Pretty good, pretty good. As I say, we're both in Japan, and obviously the typhoon that's been hit us pretty bad. There's been a lot of damage, and unfortunately, some people have been hurt, which is quite
Madness.
disconcerting.
Yeah, I
But
mean,
yeah, it's the weather. What can you do about it? You just got to work around it. And
yeah,
Japan, for being such a beautiful and varied country, has some of the worst freaking weather.
it's amazing,
Oh.
isn't it? Oh my God, it's truly the best in that regard. You go to the top, you got snow, you go to the Okinawa, you got the sweltering heat, and in the middle, well, yeah, you got all that comes with tropical weather around here, and then in the middle, you got nice balance, but even the middle mainland gets throttled sometimes with Uh, typhoons, as you're saying, it's just crazy. I mean, I've been in my bubble so much I didn't even know until you told me.
Yeah, well, I'm in the south myself, and when it made landfall, we took a break. We actually shut down work, stayed home, didn't want anyone coming into work during it because we assumed the worst. And if you assume the worst, pleasantly surprised. Honestly, it wasn't so bad where I was. Mercifully, we got it bad, but it wasn't so bad. We didn't have power outages.
Ah, thank goodness.
We,
I mean, my
we, we
wife,
we had power in the internet the entire way. Hell, I brought work from I brought paperwork back home with me. It's like, oh, if the power's going out, I can't watch anything. Okay, I guess I get some work done. Mercifully, no. So I spent 2 days gaming and catching up on
yeah.
TV.
Oh, that's blessed. That's a blessing, dude. I wish, man. I got one day off. In fact, with the missus, what do we do actually? My God, time goes so. I really appreciate that you get to
What
game.
did they do?
Oh yes, wink. I guess I'll keep that stuff a bit.
Yeah, yeah. Wrong channel. Wrong channel.
Other than that, what do we? It's funny. We bought all this emergency food for like if the power cut happened, and nothing happened. So I just ended up eating it for lunch. These
Me
noodles.
too, man. I have a massive stock of essentials, and I ate all the snacks, like 2 days worth of snacks, and
Whatever. Down the
not
hatch.
whatever. Like, oh, yep, I'm feeling it now.
Oh yeah. Oh man. Yeah. Don't
But
get
you
me
know what?
started.
That's dated the video when if you're watching this in the near future or in the far future. Yo, it was Typhoon Shanshan.
Ah.
Yeah,
Fine.
Shan. It was like an onomatopoeic name. I saw the only thing I remember.
Ah.
But yes, we are here. We are Typhoon has passed. We're in good spirits, and today Nintendo has offered up some beautiful bounties. They've offered us two videos, a partner direct, which is obviously a video not showcasing their first party games, but affiliated. It's yo, check out my boys. Yo, 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 yo. And showing off what some of their partner companies or affiliated companies are doing, which is
I tried
nice.
my hand. Yeah.
Yeah, and then of course they also did an indie direct, which is showcasing some of the smaller companies, smaller games. We're not going to touch that one just yet. We're going to go straight for the partner direct, the partner showcase, because we want to see what they've got to show us. We were talking about this earlier, weren't we, MatMadik? But I think that Nintendo is pushing really hard to keep attention, to keep hype on the
Yeah.
Switch, because we know, as of this day, we know that there will be an announcement for the Switch 2. Now, all they have confirmed, regardless of what people are saying on the internet, they have confirmed they will have an announcement about the successor, Switch 2, or whatever they call it, the next generation, before the end of the fiscal year. If end of the fiscal year ends in end of February, start of March, so before then, I reckon Christmas, around December time. But that's my guess. But all we know for certain is before February, we will have information. That's it. Anyone saying anything else is just speculating. We don't know when they'll release it. I think it's going to be Christmas next year. They're going to give. But again, I'm hoping that because I still want the Switch, and I think Nintendo wants the Switch to be the top dog. They want to get that number one spot, and they want to reassure people that the Switch is still alive. Sales
Oh
have
yeah.
plummeted. The moment they announce that there's going to be a Switch 2, just like every other generation, the moment you announce the next one, Nobody wants the old one.
Dude, you know what? It's interesting, and I'd say, as we were saying earlier, actually, you got to be a hater to uh have something against the Switch for surviving all that it's been up against since 2016. Because doing the PS2 is in its heyday, as you're saying, it's converted the DVD player, the Sony, and pushing Sony in the brand in the process, of course. You know, the bringer of Blu-rays. Eventually. And they were the top dog in the market. They had a certain format that made attracted game developers to want to develop on their platform, CDs and so on. And what else? Oh wait, let's just say CDs. I guess the GameCube was around at that point.
Yeah, but the GameCube had those mini CDs, like very proprietary technology. It was only a console for games. You couldn't do anything with it.
Yeah. So
PlayStation 2, you could play music, play DVDs, and as you say, the library. Oh, the library. It was enormous. I mean, yeah, it had some absolute bangers, but for every banger, they had like 10 trash. But it was just, as you say, it was so accessible for developers to create on it. You know, we got a lot of shovelware, we got a lot of terrible TV and movie tie-ins, but because it was so easy to program, because it was so accessible, people were willing to experiment, to try new things, to come up with new IPs. You know, we got a lot of brand new characters in that generation. At the top of my head, God of War, Ratchet and Clank, Jackson Daxter.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are just three off the top of my head that came out at about the PlayStation 2 generation because they could, you know?
That's it. It's a bit like what Steam is today, would you say? In terms of
I think it's what Steam was. There was a certain pedigree in the heyday of Steam. Like Steam was a curated platform that you had to go and you had to produce a decent product. And once you got onto the Steam library, people was like, "Oh yeah, you've made it. You've made a game." Then gradually they started loosening those restrictions, making it easier and easier and easier. And now Steam is I don't wish to make a negative comparison, but it's the only way you can take it. Steam's kind of like Twitter. Everyone can get on it, and a lot of people are talking shit.
No.
So, yeah, Steam is like the game in town for PC gaming. If everyone's there, it means all the good stuff's there. But it also means they've got tens of thousands of god-awful garbage, shovelware, asset flip games. People just buy pre-made packages and then sell those packages as an actual game. And you're like, you're supposed to make something with it. You buy the pieces from the company to use it as a basis for development. Like, hey, programming in levels and certain mechanics is difficult. So, okay, buy those things, but then put them to work. Do something with them, And I'm frustrated because I'm a big fan of Stephanie Sterling, the Jimquisition, who's long railed against this, but I've been burnt before. I own asset flips in my own Steam library because I didn't know they were asset flips. I mean, I just thought they were a cheap game, I was like, ooh, cheap, looks cute, let's try it. Oh, God. So, yeah, I've been burned, and of course, Steam's refund policy is draconically limited. If you can't play the game for more than 2 hours, and you have to return it within 7 days. So if you buy a game and you're like, yeah, I'll play that in the weekend. A couple of days go by, you play it the weekend, and then in a couple of hours in, you're like, oh, this is crap. Too late. It's yours. Buyer beware.
Yeah, but that's it. Now, that being said, considering what that's funny. Steam is today. This was cracking me up. And yeah, going back to when they were curating their stuff and they were what PS2 was. Yeah, that was what you can call the heyday. Now here we are.
I think the Steam's heyday, the Steam's golden age, is similar to the golden age of the PS2. The PS2 had some form of quality control. Wasn't a lot, but the game had to work.
Yeah.
There were some real stinkers, but for the most part, everything you bought, you could play.
Yeah. I mean, I can attest to the rigorous bug testing.
Yeah, you got burnt by that.
Yeah, man, it sucks, man. It's not like a good job if people have no idea. And then after you realize, hey, you're playing a broken game for money. like infinite for crap money too. Anyway, but anyway, that's a sad story for another time.
I don't
But
know.
what I was saying here was now the Switch show. Not to get sidetracked too much. The Switch has had to deal with a whole lot more, like you were saying. They deal with mobile games, PC games, Xbox games. Of course, not to mention, well, of course, the PS in its different iterations, along with the Xbox, for that matter, Steam. I may have already mentioned that, but
No, no, no.
and
It's a good point because PC gaming has always been a different beast to console gaming, just inherently. The gamers were getting out of it. A lot of the games transferred across, but the way they gamed was very, very different. But Steam has made PC gaming really accessible to console gamers.
yeah,
I own a Steam Deck. I have one of the earlier Steam Decks, and I gotta say, it is so freaking satisfying playing my PC games in a handheld format. Oh Lord! I just plug it into the TV, Bluetooth controller, boom! I'm playing a console. No, I'm actually playing my PC games. Very, very nice. And the fact that Switch has had to come out in this environment against this, against Candy Crush.
yeah,
No, it's a great point.
yeah, dude. And this thing, and last thing I'll throw in there is speaking of things like Twitter, if you will. Oh. Anyway, I just, anyway, my thyroid just exploded. I ate the filling, but I just realized that anyway, there's a hair on it. So it's bizarre. Anyway, yeah, speaking of things like Twitter and so on, dealing with the political issues that the world been dealing with in the past few years, not to mention the other issues and so on. Nintendo has been keeping the Switch as a business that's operating despite all the. I mean, yeah, I mean naturally some businesses thrived in the whole lockdown thing, but no matter what, it's definitely took an impact. Even in the fact, even the idea of workers not being able to come to work on the bloody thing. The Switch has been able to throw us all that to climb up to right close to what should be the number one spot, to be honest, until PlayStation fudged the numbers suddenly. Just to say, yeah. I
Yeah.
bloody hell, that's just taking a mic. But if they do somehow beat PS2, that'll be a true triumph because they have to claw their way. They're bringing the whole industry on its back. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because PS2, I think the part of the excitement of PlayStation, I don't worry, I'll take two more minutes more, then we'll jump in. But is the whole thing of the being a revenge console to some people, to what Nintendo did when they kicked Sony out of the agreement, and Sony's like
Yeah,
saying,
talk about bleeping the bed. I mean,
yeah,
Lord, Nintendo really screwed that
yeah,
up. They
and I think
basically created their own opponent.
exactly, and I think Nintendo deserved what they got with the PS doing reaching that because they had this kind of the Japanese have this weird they have a monopolistic approach to the market, and Japanese have this way of suddenly we're doing this because we say so. Suddenly we're doing this because we say so. I'm not
We're doing
explicitly
this the way
but
because
that's
it's the way we've always done it.
yeah, and
They're
it's
very
just
resistant to drastic change, to
yeah.
pivoting the market. If the market changes, they'll get round to it eventually.
That's what exactly. I wasn't articulating it properly, but that's it. It's just they just got this did I start a kind of approach. I said I'm doing it this way, and people like it's a bit like when Sega was screwing up the Saturn, and then Nintendo. It was at PlayStation like $2.99,
Yep.
PS2, and then it's like you need some sort of a translator in your company who can get into your ear and let you know how to uh, be a bit more diplomatic, if you will, with others. Because on one hand, I respect Nintendo and Japan for having their standard not being not perverted, or not being knocked off not losing sight of what makes them them, their identity, their traditions in some sense, but their identity, not just trying to follow every trend. But there's a thing of being too antisocial to the point where when people are giving a good idea that you could readily adapt into your world or business without having to compromise your core, you should be able to listen and to adapt to that. But it's too much. No, we don't take unsolicited ideas unless espionage does so. So,
I
so
remember the discourse when Nintendo first released Splatoon, and all the jokes like, "Oh, someone opened a window in Nintendo, and they saw how the gaming market has been for the past 10 years, and they finally caught up."
right,
It was zero point. Oh, what was zero punctuation say? It was like, yeah, someone pull back the curtains and they were able to see what the hell everyone else is doing finally. And yeah, it's an example of how Japanese mentality is don't rock the boat. Whether culturally, socially, it's always don't rock the boat. Just stay the course, smile, don't rock the boat. But with a market that historically has been quite volatile for video games, because the technology moves so quickly, and because there was no standard practice. When consoles came about, it was a brand new thing. And first they tried that, every company has their own console, and it was self-contained gardens, kind of like what Microsoft's trying to do.
Yes.
And that crumbled. Too much money went in, no quality control, there was no standardization. It was every man for himself. It was the Wild West of video gaming at the period, Yeehaw! And just like the Wild West, everything was trash. Then that crumbled, it couldn't sustain itself, so along comes Japan and a new way of doing things. Like, hey, you make for our console, but you have to get the mark of approval, the Nintendo seal of quality. You make the game, you get to sell the game, you take the proceeds from the game, we sell the machine. We swallow the cost of building and shipping the damn things, but we make the money on the machines. You make money on the game. And that's a good deal. Companies like, hey, the upfront cost of making an entire machine is gone. All they need to do now is make the game, sell the game, and they make the money from the game. But Nintendo is laughing because everyone needs a Nintendo console to play these games now. They have, and then of course they have their own first-party games, the Titans, and that's how it kind of went. But Nintendo has had to got so comfortable, so resting on their laurels. As you mentioned before, they made their own enemy. They were experimenting with new technologies. They hired Sony to come up with a disc-based game system, and they were like, yeah, actually, we're more comfortable with the way we've always done it. So Sony's like, crap, we made a console, might as well sell it. And then they literally marketed it so well in the West. They pivoted from the idea that, gaming was this awkward thing that people did in the basement. It was, no, gaming is cool and rad, and all the 90s were buzzwords. Yo, yo, yo. And all of a sudden, there's a great quote from Penny Arcade, which is one of the longest running webcomics. And they marketed the PlayStation to the people who beat us up when we were at high school. And it was like all the awkward kids who played gaming and loved gaming, all of a sudden their bullies, the popular kids, were being marketed to with the PlayStation. And man, it went gangbusters. PlayStation went massive. PlayStation 2 was like, yo, it's even more rad. And it's got a DVD player.
Yeah.
There's they just printed their own money. But Nintendo has stayed the course, they've been careful, they've been measured, they don't make big swings, but they do improve, and they're constantly refining their ways they do things. It's why the Mario games have so many iterations. They're so good because there's so much resource they can draw upon to polish those games to perfection. Those Zelda games are they're almost always really, really good. Even the bad Zelda games are still a quality game.
Definitely.
I'm not a fan of Skyward Sword, but damn it, I've completed it twice. It's not my favorite by a long shot, but it's a good game.
True.
But PlayStation was different. PlayStation was like, hey, everyone. They just opened the floodgates, and all of a sudden they had these amazing titles come out of it, but they were diamonds in the rough. And then of course Microsoft comes along and is like, yo, you're making a lot of money on this, so we'll do it too. And they always felt like a lackluster. It was just like a big company like, yo, we want to make money. Give us the money. And we got some great games. I loved Halo. The first three, man, I was a big diehard Halo fan. And Xbox 360, despite the Red Ring of Death, that was a solid all-rounder console. It's just the company's ethos has always been profit-driven. It always felt like they were the cynical option. Just play an Xbox, push the technology. The reason that Xbox was so powerful is because they had online. They commercialized the online, especially with the headset. Being able to talk to someone online, Xbox Live, that made Halo and Xbox Live and then Gears of War just a multiplayer aspect. They sold on the multiplayer aspect because that's what the PC was like.
Yeah.
They tried to create like a PC experience on the consoles. PlayStation was always more of a high end, and Nintendo was a curated but stable garden of beautiful gems. Wasn't a big garden, was never going to be the best, but just a reliable garden. But Nintendo is beginning to change. We're seeing this now. Ever since we got Bowser, the new CEO, and we've had all these new faces take over the old guard. We talked about this before on this channel. The old guard have gone. The guys who took pay cuts to keep the company afloat when the Wii U wasn't doing well have gone. And we've got new guys who try to keep the mission statement alive, but they're businessmen more than they are company men. And we're seeing that. We're seeing Nintendo appear on mobile. We're seeing more DLC, microtransaction-y games appear. The Switch's floodgates opened, and just like Steam, and just like the PlayStation Store, we've got a deluge of just awful games. Because it's a game, technically. I mean, you can play it, presumably.
Yes,
but we're slowly seeing the market change. And the Switch feels like a holdout, like it is pure distilled Nintendo. The Switch was stable and reliable and throwing back to what gaming was, drawing upon the strengths of a portable gaming, playing those Game Boy games and Game Boy Advance games, drawing upon the strength and the reliability of a console gaming with some bangers. The first year it came out, Breath of the Wild, Nintendo, Mario Odyssey, Mario Kart 7 Deluxe. Man, that is a great game. And it is pure Nintendo joy. And you're absolutely right. It has weathered all the ups and downs. It did have supply chain issues during the pandemic. And games were delayed. People were annoyed. Hell, I'm happy we finally got to view Metroid Prime 4, but they announced that like not long from the start of this damn console. They're like, hey, we're going to do this. And at the end of the console life, do we get more information? But yeah, I completely agree. I think that if you consider the market and the environment that console is produced in, there is no question. The Switch is the greatest game console of all time. It can't be topped. PlayStation 2 had a smaller market, and they just dominated it. There was a big fish in a small pond. Switch had to make itself the biggest. It was never going to be the biggest fish in the pond, but damn if that fish ain't got fight in it.
Yeah, dude. You know what I want to say? Last thing I want to say is, do you have like a copy of the numbers of how much further Nintendo has to do to get?
Well, that's a good point. Let's have a quick look.
I'm going to make a YouTube short about that. That made just a little bit of attention.
Switch sales figures. Top selling units. Okay, so far the top unit sales.
Pretty sure?
Nintendo Switch. Specifically Nintendo. Oh no, that's consoles. I'm trying to get an up-to-date one, a recent one. Ooh, lifetime Statistica, that will do. What have we got here? Ah, yes. Ooh! Oh, that's pretty interesting. Okay, right, I'm going to share.
We're waiting on tenterhooks.
Wait, boy, no, screen, advanced.
I'm going to injure myself.
Watch your screen.
Excuse me, people. Oh!
Okay, so
look at my face. This is
thumbnail. So according to February 2024, this is the Statistica website. PlayStation 2 still top dog.
God damn.
Stop there. But we got the Nintendo DS, which was just within spitting distance. You could taste it.
Yeah.
Then we've got the Switch, which is number 3 with 137 million. Now that's damn good, but it's still a bit of a distance. But it's not that far off. It's not unreasonable to think that they can do this if they just keep putting out some big titles. Because I still think it's the backwards compatibility. If the current console could play, the new console can play the old stuff, then you might want to keep the old one. But if the new one can't play the new stuff, get yourself an old one. I still have older consoles because the new consoles can't play them.
Yeah,
So,
Me too.
but
But also, I just love the old ones. Also,
of course, I've still got
yeah,
my Nintendo 3DS and a whole stack of DS games. Been playing
yeah.
those.
That's
But
too personal. But
it
yeah,
is nice. It is nice to see that everyone knows PlayStation 2 was top dog. Been top dog for a long time. But 2, 3, and 4 were Nintendo's, and cumulatively, man, they crush everything.
that's beautiful.
All the way down here, Xbox 360 is the first
Oh man.
Microsoft console. Not even close. Like that's embarrassing.
Wait, that's not the first console. That's 360, right? Wasn't
Yeah,
that
it's
the original?
the first Xbox, the first Microsoft console. You've
No,
got
that's Xbox
Sony.
360. That's the second one. The first one's the
Yeah,
Xbox
yeah.
original.
No, on the rankings. It's the first one on the ranking.
I see, I see.
So Sony, Nintendo, Sony, Nintendo, Sony. Wow. PlayStation 2, 3, and 4, they all sold really well. It's a real testament to their marketing. They came out and they really marketed it very, very well.
It's funny that the PS3 is behind the PS1. I guess something. Yeah, it's like so expensive, wasn't it? It was stupid expensive.
Yeah, unfortunately, I think of the PS3 very fondly. There was a lot of great games that I loved on the PS3, but man, they made it from the beginning. They made it difficult to get them.
Yeah.
They were expensive and clunky, and that image. I think the term is called anchoring. It's often used in financing. When the first price you see or the first attitude you get is going to be how you judge. That's your first taste of something. So if someone comes up the gate and gives you like, oh, massive price, and you're like, oh, I don't like that. And then they come back and go, actually, well, we can do it a little bit lower. Like, oh, that's great because that's the normal price. The inflated number is the one you anchor and you judge everything else in regards to. So if they come back and they go, oh, actually, we're going to give you a smaller price. What they could just do is inflate the price initially and then give you an average price. But because you're thinking, oh, the inflated number is higher, oh, the cheap one, the next one is cheap by comparison. And yeah, PlayStation 3 came out and we're like, yo, this is an amazing console. Really freaking expensive. And people were like, yo, no.
Crazy Ken Kotaragi. Yes.
Yeah, just poor move, really. Which is a shame, really, because I have very fond memories of the PlayStation 3.
Yeah.
I mean, it was the console that brought us Arkham Asylum.
Yeah.
The first three. It was only the fourth moved up to PlayStation 4.
Yeah. Wait. Where's PS5? Before we get into that,
It's not on yet.
what?
Expand. Okay, PlayStation.
Down
Oh,
there.
PlayStation 5 is down here. Down here.
What the hell?
54 million.
That's hilarious. No. And you can't hate on Nintendo when PS5 and Xbox. Wait, what's the latest Xbox? Not X, it's Xbox. What's it called? I forgot.
Is it?
Say it.
Is what Xbox One? What Xbox
No.
One?
That's not. It's something after.
No, X Series X.
X series,
S.
yeah.
Yeah.
What is it?
Oh wait.
Hilarious.
Wait. It's literally below the box. Bring it down. There we go. Xbox Series X. 27 million.
No. Haters, you cannot hate. No. That's gone too far. You cannot hate on the Switch when the latest Xbox and PlayStation are nowhere to be seen in spitting distance to the bloody thing. And now that being said, it's been out for longer, but still, I don't care
Yeah.
how good your new technology is. You're not touching the Switch.
I do think it's kind of indicative of when one of the biggest selling points of new generations is the power, the hardware, the bits.
Yeah.
It's a 16 bits, a 32 bits, 64 bit. Nintendo sold it with the 64 tagline. But once we reach a certain critical mass, at this point the games are just good. Graphically, they're not going to get much better. It's more a case of releasing better games, better quality games, and a lot of really great games have gone back to pixel art. Just they don't have to be graphically perfect fidelity. We can have Hi-Fi Rush. We can have, Stardew Valley. We don't need graphics to sell the game. We could just sell the game.
And that's
But
what I love.
but this is a more recent development. It's basically we've learned from the consoles themselves. Initially, they're like, "Yo, it looks so great. Look how amazing it is." I mean, I remember polygonal graphics going from pixel to polygons. Man, those early polygons were but ugly. Whoa, very fugly. But, it was such a massive departure. It was such an incredible way to move forward. The first Resident Evils, Biohazard games, those polygonal characters running around a drawn environment. It's beautiful. It was so well done. And now you look at those remakes. Oh, they are beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. But where do you go now? You can't sell the game on graphics anymore. We can make the graphics. It's so you can't sell a console without good games, and honestly Xbox just does not have a lot of great first party games. They're releasing their first parties on other consoles, and they bought Activision Blizzard. They bought Rare back in the day. They bought Rare off of Nintendo to put their games on their Xbox 360, and what did they do? Perfect Dark Zero.
I'm thinking Rare probably crying right now, but
God,
still,
this is broken. They're...
How dare you, Microsoft? What's business, ain't it?
Yeah, it just felt like it felt less like they were trying to make games, and more like they were just trying to undercut their competition.
Yeah,
They treated it like a business. Like Microsoft always treated the gaming industry as a business and not as its own beast.
I always say that, and you feel me, man. I think we have the same heart on this matter. Like I always, I express my thing about even PlayStation. As much as I love PlayStation games, remember those ads? The game is just the beginning. Just that. I was like, no. The game is the thing, man. You get out of here with that trying to entice me with a free. It's like a free donut if I blah 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 do X Y Z. I want what I came for. So that being said, this is what. It's on one hand, this is something that Nintendo sometimes has taken for granted. Like, what's the man's name? Yamauchi, as Gurulai would say, when he was saying, people don't care about new graphic, super good graphics. They'll play it as long as the game is good. They'll enjoy it. But at the same time, you don't want to go too far with it. As into saying, when the audience would appreciate it. I mean, look at Luigi's Mansion, and I was watching it, just like the opening scene when Luigi's driving in on the bus or whatnot, and I was like, these graphics are so advanced. Mario's come a long way from the bleepy bleepy, and I'm like, you almost feel like you don't need to do this. This is Mario, right? But the fact that they took the time to make Mario sexy in that regard, I think the audience would appreciate it. Yeah, polished. So I think there's a value in actually caring about the overall the sheen, but at the same time, prioritizing the gameplay is what it's all about. So if you do all that and you don't have a game, you say just make movies, all right? It's like
I don't dislike games that have the sheen. I like them. In fact, it's hard to go back and play some of the old games that I enjoyed because they're just so superannuated. They have new versions that are just so significantly better. Like, I always wanted to play the first Metroid, just for posterity's sake. Just say I have, My first Metroid was Super Metroid on the N64, Nintendo Super Famicom. But then on the Game Boy Advance, they released Metroid Zero Mission. They literally, an entire ground-up remake of the first game. And it completely supplants it. It superannuates it in such a way that you would never ever go back to the first. The Zero Mission is superior in every single regard, and it's so accurate to the first one that you can play it and get the experience of the first one just better. And I'm not against these, AAA, these, Oscar bait video games. Last of Us is a beautiful game, I haven't played Death Stranding, but I'd love to. If I can get, I just need something hallucinogenic or something to open my mind so I can understand the storyline. You ever watch one of those lore videos about the story of Death Stranding? Oh my God, what were they smoking? Like, wow! You know what? That's a hallmark of the auteur, and I love his work. I love Metal Gear Solid, and that's crazy. So, you know what? I'm willing to try it. But ultimately, it just feels like slowly but surely what was its own industry has grown and grown and grown. People have come to gaming, but gaming itself has become more homogenized, more focused on the fine lines. When I'm not trying to gatekeep, I'm not going to be like, no, it needs to go back the way it was. No, culture changes, things move forward. But it is indicative of the market that a lot of the successes are games that throw back to the way they were. Doom 2016, massive success because it felt like the earlier Dooms. You know, we had Doom 2, then Doom 3 was more like a Resident Evil thing. They tried something new. Good on them. You tried something new, but it didn't work. That's not what we wanted. We wanted the original experience. So they just gave us the original experience and it sold like crazy. And the games that do go back and give us the feeling of classic gaming often do well. Not all, and I like these new experiences. I personally like the new God of War. I prefer the new God of War to the classic God of War. Classic God of War was hack and slash. You went around, you killed a bunch of things, and you just enjoyed the free-flowing combat, the brutality of it. The new God of War is a contemplative, careful story about fatherhood, about being a role model, about accepting the failures of one's life and moving past it. And it's a fantastic story. The first one and Ragnarok. But it's not the same experience. You could just change the name and call him something else, and it would be like, oh yeah, it's a totally different guy. But because it's not the same game. But I don't mind that. I like that they moved forward. But I think the market is big enough now to have more. I get frustrated with publishers that aren't in it for the game and they hurt the developers. People making money off of their own staff. That feels very pyramid schemey. If you're making money off of your own people instead of bringing money into the company, that hurts.
I was thinking about that yesterday, so much, so deeply. And sorry, folks, that we game it down. It just gets me going, and I just love his introspective contemplations.
We will get to the direct soon. I swear. Yeah. We're just going to see where this takes us.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I was thinking about metaphors to do with money and the way companies work. It's like I heard somebody say once, money is like a metaphor for water. And it's like a bit like if you look at the back of a penny in the UK, there's like a Watergate on it.
Yeah.
You have merchants, it's like mermaids and so on. So many words that kind of connect to it. So I was thinking, if money is water, what can I use it to water? I mean, water seeds. What would a seed be in the business world? I guess the seeds are the
IP.
Yeah, the ideas, but the people who bring the idea. I think the workers maybe are the seeds. Maybe if you went with that metaphor, then what would be the fruit? The fruit would be the IP because
that makes sense.
And the seed would be the seeds that the fruit contain would be let's say maybe the value. Let's say for example another company bought the service that you brought out or the stuff you brought out. The profit, the return of investment that they get for that would be practically a seed. If I was just playing with that, and the reason why I would give all this now again, it's kind of almost half baked, but I think it's almost fully baked. Just trying to figure it out.
I'm with you. I'm with you there. Let's just see where this metaphor goes.
Yeah. So what I was thinking was, when it comes to, oh my gosh, I just want to tie it to the last word you said, which was bloody hell. What was the very last thing you said?
IP.
Yeah, no. But before I threw my little 2 cents in this discussion, it was the last thing you were talking about. I think the very last thing you were talking about. Sorry, people. One sec. It was just coming to me. You were talking about was it companies that want to they don't respect the game. They want to make
they want to treat the industry like a profit scheme, and they're not in it for the love of the product.
That is it. It's exactly. So I was thinking to myself, it's a bit like this is a bit of a bizarre little detour I'm going to take, but if anyone's familiar with the Bible out there, people, there's a story where Jesus, he spotted this fig tree that wouldn't bear any fruit, so he just decided to just end it, and it just shriveled up, and it was like, you're not bearing any fruit. So when you get these companies that ought to be feeding the economy of ideas, be it the games industry, be it the actual monetary economy, uh, and then it's like they're just cursing themselves. Eventually, they'll just cease to exist. So you got these companies that get into the business for it's for the money, but they're not using that money to water any projects. It's I mean or breed any inspiration in the audience, in the clients, no, in the developers, in the team, and it's just and it's just a case of bloody hell. There's a word I want to time, but the essence is it just doesn't last. No matter it. Sometimes people. I remember what it was like.
Self-defeating,
Yeah, it's like remember.
self-sabotage,
Yeah, but it's like this.
short-sighted.
I think yeah, but the main story I want to tie back to is the when the Switch before the Switch came out, a lot of people saying Nintendo's over. You need
Done.
to
It's
go to
cooked.
IP, and I was like, because Nintendo seems to value the fruits of the labor, the IPs that they have. They tend to they're not nurturing the small garden that they have, just to use a metaphor from before, and they bring out things that last. The idea that the Series X and the PlayStation 5 are not doing anything
That's
compared to
good.
Nintendo.
That's a good metaphor. Now, to expand on that metaphor, I like to play with the idea. Right, Simpsons,
Yeah,
season
yeah.
one and season two, early Simpsons. Bart goes to France and he works for a vineyard and he's making
Yes.
wine. What do the crooked winemakers do? They use antifreeze in the wine to simulate maturity. This is a joke, an in-joke on a scandal in France, where people were using chemicals to try and simulate the wine making process. They were trying to accelerate the fermentation process to sell more wine. So here we have a garden, a series of gardens, vineyards. To create the best wine takes a long, steady, careful process. It requires water and labor and time to let these wines develop, let them cook, and then the final product is a beautiful, beloved product.
Yes.
But here we have owners trying to accelerate the process. They're trying to use as little water as possible, as little labor as possible to save on costs. And they're adding chemicals into the process to speed this up and get more product onto the market.
Yeah.
Better. Yeah, it's like your metaphor. If if the wine is the gaming product, like I buy a game that is a bottle of wine, it takes the developers time to grow those grapes, to harvest them, to process them, to ferment them, as in the QR testing, to go through and get all the polish it up to beautiful, to a qualitative level. But at every stage, you have the people in charge who are undercutting them, are just injecting crap into the situation, taking out people who can work to save costs, firing their staff, and undercutting everyone trying to make the best product because it's more cost effective. And you've got ultimately a weaker product. But Nintendo is a company that values their wine, values the quality of the grapes. They will take the loss, they will take the hit to keep their small but curated winery as high quality as possible. I would argue in this analogy, Nintendo is the Champagne region, because every champagne is a sparkling wine, but not every sparkling wine is a champagne. It has to be from a particular region, particularly well made. That's what makes a Nintendo game. And because they care about their final product. Now, to that detriment, as we talked about at the beginning of the video, they kind of blinkers on. What's the tunnel vision? They can only see what's in front of them, what they have, and they want to make that as best they can. But they ain't expanding into a lot of other fields. Sony and Microsoft, while their practices are, can we swear on this channel?
Yeah, we've done it. If you think about it.
Well, I'm just going to bleep it. Oh, bleep souls for doing what they're doing, because they keep screwing over their own staff, the people who make the game, and injecting so much microtransactions and terrible business practices just to squeeze money out the same audience. It leaves a bad taste in your mouth. It makes these games harder to play, harder to invest in. You know, I remember when they re-released Crash Nitro. kart racing game based on Crash Bandicoot, long-running series, remake of a beloved game. And what did they do? They released the game for children, aimed squarely at kids, and then after the game was in their hands, boop, they added the microtransactions. They snuck it in, and they had to go back, and the CRB had to go back and change the classification of the game post-release, meaning that there is a whole mess of product, of physical products that are, hiding the fact that they have, gambling in their game aimed at children. And when you buy the product, it doesn't label it because they released it before they introduced the elements. And that kind of practices, that just feels manipulative, And they might make some money on the game. They did make some money on the game. Just if you look at the sales numbers and the pricing on it, they made some money, but it erodes confidence. I don't trust them anymore. I want to know before I buy the game. Oh, are they going to add all this extra bleep into the game after launch? I don't know. I can't know because they're not going to tell me. So I'm not going to trust them as much. And you see this all the time. All these companies, short-term decisions that erode trust. They're burning their bridges, they're hurting people. And people, I would like to think that the average gamer, for the most part, is getting kind of sick of it. Like, we don't want the games we want to play to be affiliated with it. People who are excited for Sun Wukong, the newest kind of, I don't know if it's a Souls-like or just like a brutal RPG, but it's a combat game with a lot of bosses. But it's based upon the Journey to the West, and I've been excited for this for so long. But every time I try to look at the discourse, it is just violently, aggressively toxic. Like, it's a great game, but it's a bad game. It's pro-China, it's anti-China, it's pro-Taiwan, it's misogynistic, it's racist. I just want to play the fucking game. I just want to play the game. I don't want to have to deal with this. It's why one of these I just avoided like the plague. I pushed everything to do with Harry Potter's Hogwarts game. Like, the moment they started talking about that game, I was like, no, 50-foot stick, no, just stay the hell away from me. I don't want to deal with it. I just want to play. But it's hard to play the game. It's getting harder and harder to play these bigger games because the discourse around it is what once was free advertising has now become a blight, an albatross around their neck. All this discourse is only hurting the sales because people are going to buy the game regardless, even if they hate what the company's doing, even if they boycott. I mean, gamer boycotts are legendarily impotent. A lot of people are like, "Rah, I'm still going to buy it." That's the image in popular discourse. That's the image of the gamer boycott, because they'll yell and they'll scream for a while, but they'll still buy the game. So who cares?
Yeah. But I think, that is it, dude. That's a brilliant summary.
But yeah, it's just it's strange because this is such a young medium that we are old enough to have seen it change. For it to go from the basement to the mainstream, to go to spread to when my mother and my parents started playing Candy Crush, that was an eye opener. It was like, wow. Getting grandparents to play Wii Fit, Wii Tennis.
Yeah. That was a moment.
But it was a great moment for Nintendo, but it was so...
Sorry, I dropped something.
Right?
It's all good though. Sorry, people. Small office space.
But, great time, poor decision for Nintendo. They banked on the trend, and the trend left. It was a fad for a while, but then all you had left were the gamers.
Yeah, and here we are. It comes down to what core values keeps it afloat when the fads fade out, if you will.
Yes,
Speaking of which,
it does. It does. I believe that for the most part, Nintendo has kept the core value of wanting to produce a great product. They want their wine to be as beautiful and delicious as possible. They want their games to be as polished and as capable as possible. That's why they put the gameplay first.
That's it. That is it.
But it's a changing market. The world is changing. The way we play is changing. It's getting interesting. So I want to support the Switch more. I do want to buy. I'm going to buy some of the games. Hell, I've got when the new Zelda and the new Brothership comes out. Boom! I'm just going to stream the shit out of those games.
Dude, please, you
But
gotta
well,
get.
stream or at least record as I would play those things every day. I'll just record the hell out of it. But I worry. I do worry because the market has changed in such a way that it's slowly normalizing. It has past tense is slowly normalized a lot of really really terrible practices. And the only people who suffer are the people who love games, the developers, the players. We are the ones who suffer for this.
There's one, yeah, the one thing we have to hope, it's like politics too. Excuse me. I guess is if you got some sort of a bastion, is that word I love you used last week of of somebody does it right. So if Nintendo do it right, and the other companies that, well, again, I understand these practices are bleeding into Nintendo, but if Nintendo pull it out, pull it out, whip out, if they you get pull out another Switch, a successful Switch 2, if you will, with the gamers at the forefront, it can diminish greed practices from Sony and Microsoft.
I think
Perhaps.
it's never going to diminish greed because greed occurs
Age
not in a
old.
vacuum. The more money you have, the more greedy you become. And these companies are massive. It's the more you have, the more you can make because it takes money to make money. And once you reach a certain, after a certain point, you're making so much money that money becomes all you need to do. But I do think that Nintendo can continue to be a bastion, as you say, like a garden, and show that you don't need to follow these practices. You can just have a beautiful product. Just make a
Yeah.
beautiful product, and people will buy that product, and it'll keep it alive. It'll always be an example. It's like a number of years ago, Ninja Theory produced a Senua's Sacrifice. And that was a perfect example of an A game. It was a smaller game with a limited budget or with a small development team produced in a reasonable amount of time. They didn't crunch and they did not do some of these awful practices the bigger companies did to do. And they showed that it can be done. You can produce a high quality game. Oh, yeah, a high quality game for a reasonable time frame, for a reasonable budget, and you don't have to screw your developers to do so. And it was just like the antithesis. It was a pure distillation, a pure distilled middle finger to all these big companies going, well, we've got 500. You're like, you don't need it. You don't need 500 developers. You don't need an overinflated budget. You just need a good game. That's it. Just make a good game for a reasonable price over a reasonable span. And you know what? You can have like 5, 10 smaller good games for the cost of one of these big AAAs now.
True.
Now,
That's it.
there'll always be AAAs, but you don't need them. We have reached a point now where we can have just the smaller games. The market is large enough to facilitate everyone. Now, you're going to have what's it called? Grand Theft Auto, GTA. GTA 6 is going to be a record-shattering game because people have been wanting it for a long time.
Yes.
It's got all this new technology to take advantage of, and GTA Online was just staggeringly successful. It's the reason why there was no DLC for GTA 5.
Right.
But I do think that the market has changed. We've seen smaller games get accolades, get rewards. We've seen games that have taken longer to develop.
Yeah.
Baldur's Gate 3 took a long time to develop because they treated their staff well. They didn't crunch them, make them work 24 hours a day, sleep at their desks. No, they treated them well. And as the game grew, so did their deadlines, so did their time frame. As they wanted to do more, they were realistic with that. They injected more money, more time into their game development because that's what's needed. You can't pull a game out of thin air. It has to be built.
Yeah. Dude, this is. Oh my God! I was wondering what we're gonna call this episode now. Deep
Yeah.
thoughts, deep dives, I suppose.
We could call it. I said we could call it just like looking back to predict ahead, or just
Yeah.
a retrospective
Perfect.
for the future.
That's it, dude. Speaking of which, I should. I might shot myself. I need to get the the video you're gonna show. But in which case, oh dear, we got enough. You got until got to 35 or 40 more minutes.
Yeah, well, we got a bit of time. Tell you what, let's end with just touching on the Nintendo Showcase, just so that we'll lead into the next video. We were planning on doing it, I swear. We were talking about what we want to talk about with the Nintendo Direct. I had a whole thing. I got pictures and a slide to show you because this is this amazing moment in it, and I was so excited, and I want to share that with you, all you lovely people out there in YouTube land. But we just kind of got distracted.
Yeah, it's just, oh my God.
But you don't come for our analysis of the internet. You come for us to ramble. We're going to ramble ramble and rant, and we're just going to go off on tangents. And honestly, I'd like to think that's why you're here.
That is it. I mean, let me see. I'm going to put some comments and start giving some shout outs to people who appreciate it the most. And yeah, and for those of you who are busy, I will try and chop up some videos to smaller forms. But I know the full length is doing well too. So thanks everybody for watching. Yes, we just love to just go off, to be honest, and and I know you audience do too as well. But
yeah, it's nice to talk about the things you love. You know, I've always been a proponent that a passion is not a passion if not invested in. If you like something, do it. You know, get involved. If you're interested if you're passionate about politics, then get off your ass and be going to politics. But you should never be afraid to critique it. My passions, I am occasionally pretty freaking brutal with because it's something I care about and I want it to be better. And if I see bad practices, if I see poor behavior, I want to call it out because I don't want that polluting and ruining the things I love. So yeah, I have some really strong theories and strong arguments for video games, for graphic novels, Marvel and DC, and you know, because these are things I like. These are things I enjoy, you know. And hell, I recently watched Alien Romulus. Honestly, pretty good.
Nice.
A fun film. Just a quick overview. No spoilers about the film, but I will say it drew heavily from its own continuity. I know when Prometheus film came out, it kind of burnt away decades of lore and stories and ancillary material that was affiliated with the alien mythos. The alien kind of story, all the comics and books and extra, all the things that built upon it, it kind of ruined those because it recontextualized the aliens and it made all those stories superfluous. Kind of what Disney did with all the Star Wars extended universe.
Okay.
But this film feels perfectly, absolutely, pitch perfectly suited for the current universe as it stands. It draws upon the new mythos. It highlights and has elements from the classics. And it's an all-round good movie, you know? It really shows the dangers of these creatures. It shows how capable they can be. And it has a great twist at the end that feels so true to the original movies. Love it. As I say, it almost felt like the Alien Mythos' version of Wolverine and Deadpool. Not a great movie, not like an Oscar bait movie or a cinematic masterpiece, but a really fun film. Fit with everything that was going on, did everything it needed to do, and you know what? Occasionally went a bit above and beyond. It's a great if you like the Alien Mythos, I think it's a well paced, well performed, great performances from some of the actors, and we got a few familiar faces from older movies. Nothing about that. But I would say,
reaction.
Yeah, I say I'd love to. Yeah, I could talk a little bit about it, but honestly, it's a great movie, and it feels like it was made by someone who loves the alien mythos, and that's that feel that comes through. It's like you see these younger directors, these younger creators in video games, in movies, these young artists who are coming up, and they're hungry. You know, they got something they want to say. Get on it, boys. Get on it, girls. People, get in there, because that authenticity comes through. Yeah, so yeah, Alien Romulus, a good time. And you say, if you're not a big fan of the aliens, don't go rush out and see the movie. But if you get the chance, say yes. Yeah, if you've got the opportunity to watch it, I'd watch it again.
Super. All right. So I think it's on the list. But my man, let's jump onto the while we have these minutes. In fact, I'm swallowing really hard here. Sorry, people. So I'm a bit distracted. I'm
Tell you
gonna
what,
turn
why
my
don't we finish with
aircon.
some? I wanted to watch a bit of Nintendo Direct, but let's just do that next time. What
Shall we?
about the comments? I'd
Ah,
love to see some of the comments. To be fair,
yes. Let me see. Oh dear. Oh no. All right, people. Sorry about this. It's gonna take a bit of time, but for some reason I can't log into my. Oh, here we go. Come on. Sorry, people. If this takes more than a minute, then
I'll tell you what. While you're doing that,
hmm,
we're gonna watch one trailer from the new
yes, please.
Direct,
Give
just
me a sec.
one. We're not gonna watch all of it. We are gonna do a whole video on the whole part of the thing and the indies because we like to watch the new stuff. But hopefully the professor will be back. She's currently going through a bit of
Yeah.
work. She's moving house. We've been chatting with her recently. She's doing good, but she's kind of busy. And a few other friends. We've got other people who are interested in coming to the channel. So
Yeah.
it's not just going to be two guys sitting on a couch arguing like Beavis and Butthead anymore. Let's get a crowd together. And
Yes, I'm
for those of you who are interested, those of you who like that little analogy, in the comments, which one of us is Beavis and which one's Butthead?
ahead. Yeah.
Right, I'm going to share this. Get the sound,
Wait,
full screen, right. Da, 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 da.
the new computer, man. There we go. Yep.
Can you see?
Yes. Oh my God. Give me that. Can you pause a second? Let me just grab me the air conditioner remote. I am boiling.
I have a mini fan. Like, I have the AC and another fan. It's bleeping hot, man.
You see, I'm just sweating. I'm just shine. There you go. Okay, that's better.
Okay,
This is
ready?
awesome. Yeah, drop it. Looking at man. Fantastic.
Oh, I love the SNK ones. That was my jam. I even had the manga.
Oh my God.
Power Stone!
Yo, bro. Oh my God. That is favorite. This is what I live for, people. I'm a beat 'em up, dude.
I knew about this game. I never played it.
That. Imagine Chun-Li's. Oh my gosh, she's not the only one scantily clad. As in, before you know.
Down super combo. I ain't never scared, never quitting is the motto.
Ooh. Yes, roll back.
Oh my God. What kind of overload of deliciousness?
Oh man, I am stoked for that. I'm not again.
It's the
Regular viewers will
best.
know I'm not the fighting game fan. My esteemed colleague is the fighting game guy. He's good at that. I'm not. But Power Stone is my weakness, man. I love those games passionately, man. Ooh, I love me some Power Stone.
It's it, my man. Oh, and let me see. Just I can't believe we couldn't. I guess I got too carried away with our chat, but I would love to have jumped into more of this today. But who knows? Professor Sue's got to. Hopefully, but no pressure today. You know how she's moving. Yeah, but hey, if not next week, if she's not here to show us what she's got, then I would like to jump into this with Ryu's very smooth palm right there. But,
Yeah, he's very polished. I like to, but honestly, I prefer him with a bit of stubble. He's more modern intakes of him with a beard. He looks
Yes.
good on him. But
Definitely.
it's
So because
nice, it's nice to see some of these older games come back, show a little love. The fighting game collection was good. Soon we're getting the Marvel versus Capcom collections and this one, so they're really going out the stops. But Capcom have really got it right. They've really been doing it well for the past couple of years. They're releasing better games. Their Resident Evil sequels have been very good. And they've been making all the right choices. But, of course, this is in contrast to Konami, which, it's just a dumpster fire. Lord, they hate Konami.
Dude, man, I tell you. Hold on. Finally got my comment section open.
Yay!
So somebody called Creole Queen. She tends to react to my music reactions also. But she essentially just saying stuff like, "Hey, we appreciate the reaction, fam." Not so much the reaction. Because let me see. This is for the Nintendo Direct. For some reason, they're asking about Banjo. I don't know why they threw that. Oh, right. There's your Banjo videos are quite popular for some reason. I was gonna, for some reason, the people want to see more gameplay. Do more Banjo again. Anyway, it's not a Banjo request. All right.
Yep, I say that's in the work. I say we're going back and polishing up older videos, and I've got a couple of more Banjo videos coming. Don't worry.
And on the last request, excuse me, my computer is slow as hell. I need a new computer, please, for Santa. Anyway, okay, finally, it says, what do you think? No, do you think Nintendo's next console will outsell PlayStation 2? All right, so.
Ooh, that's
Well, I mean, let's just say first of all we're dealing with the Switch. So if the Switch does it, then I think I don't know what PlayStation will do. Maybe they'll just go away hiding somewhere. But but if I don't know. What do you think? Give me done.
It's tough. It's a tough point because, as we said in this video, as we talked about, there were a lot of extenuating circumstances that really helped the Switch. I mean, during lockdown, Switch sales skyrocketed. People wanted something to do, so they bought themselves a Switch and they got Animal Crossing. Just like people with other consoles bought Doom Eternal. That's why those, the crossover artworks were everywhere. We had Doom guy going to Animal Crossing and what's her name, going to Doom, but I couldn't say because this generations now are kind of a nebulous term. Before it was like 6 years. Now it could be 8 years a generation, and as we can see from PlayStation's later consoles, they're doing well. PlayStation 5 is selling pretty well, surprisingly well compared to PlayStation 4. But ain't no one touching the top dog. PlayStation 2 sold so well because it wasn't just a great console. It wasn't just a great library. It was a whole conflagration, a whole storm of different aspects, culturally, historically, financially, that came together that produce a prime opportunity. It was primed and ready to capitalize on the situation. Yeah. And the Switch has done that too. The Switch has done really, really well. But I can't say whether the future console will do any better, even if it's a better console, because we don't know what circumstances it's going to be involved with. What if there's a civil war in America? What if there's another pandemic? What if Russia bites the bullet and just pulls the trigger and starts a world war? It's well documented that people play games and watch movies as a distraction, as escapism from their life. That's why when times are good, people want violent films, they want violent games, they want excitement, because they have comfort and stability in their life. But when times are difficult, rough, we get Stardew Valley, we get Minecraft, we get Animal Crossing, we get the comforting games, because people don't want to have a turbulent reality and then play turbulent games. They want an escape from whatever their current existence is.
Yeah.
So, I think that during turbulent times, which honestly, let's be real, the last couple of years have been pretty hairy, the comfort of a Nintendo game has been the primary draw. A lot of the games they're releasing are exactly what people want to play. the familiar, the reliable, the quality. You know, these games went sold like gangbusters because they were just the right game for the right time.
Yeah.
And I honestly, touch wood, pray to whatever deity you believe in. I just hope we get a bit more stability. I'd like a little bit, the world to be a little calmer, a little more reliable, so that maybe we can get some more violent games.
Yeah, is it yeah, it's so true. I therefore I think Creole Queen and Wildcat 101.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be a case of let's see what the world looks like.
It's too early to tell. We don't know. It's too early to say definitively. I couldn't make any predictions until I haven't even seen the console. You know, we've been arguing. I have my predictions. You know, long-time viewers will know. I have my thoughts. I reckon it's AR. It's augmented reality is the way that Nintendo's going to go. They're going to be doing it outside their gaming and inside their gaming. But they're going to try and change the way we look at the environment, the way that we play, because that's their bread and butter. You know, they are good at what they do.
I'm just thinking, my gosh, the last thing about AIs. I mean, they tried it with the 3DS. I mean, think about it this way: with the Wii.
Oh, the AR stuff. Yes, not
Yeah.
AI. It's like,
Yeah, it's like,
AI
yeah.
on the 3DS.
Yeah.
Whoa, what did I miss?
But no, the when the 3DS came out, you know, with what's it called? Stereoscopic vision that can make you kind
Yeah.
of go a bit funny. When you're playing, I can understand. I mean, I know, of course, the 3DS. In my opinion, the 3DS and Wii U were deliberate placeholders because I think Nintendo knew they didn't really have a winner, but they said, well, at least we can dry run some of the technology. By the time the Switch came out, it was, if in all fairness, they probably didn't have the Switch perfectly formulated in mind at the time, but they said to themselves, let's throw something out there and ride on the tailcoats of the Wii and the DS, and see if we can preview that technology. Again, the Switch, what do you call it? The DS became this. Nintendo went handhold, and the Wii U became the Switch, and now we're in a phase where, I mean, because they pushed the two consoles, it seems as though they pushed the two consoles together with the Switch. On one hand, they still have this hand in other markets, the fingers in other pies. I think people are hoping to be surprised. That's what I was going to say, because it'd be something if it was predictable.
I can agree with you there. I think Nintendo's not a company that creates a placeholder and sets it and leaves it, because both the Wii U and especially the 3DS had rocky starts, but there was a concerted effort by the company to improve it. I mean, the 3DS was blasted at the beginning, absolutely blasted. It was nothing to play on it. It wasn't well received. You know, I got mine, you know, on launch, and then I got an updated version. I currently have a new 3DS, the souped up giant version. But they worked hard to create a great library of first party games and third party games on the 3DS. So at the beginning, yes, but they put the time and energy in to make that console successful. You know, it wasn't as poorly received as people took it. It was it was poorly received, but by the end, there was a strong market for it. You know, they worked hard on what they could do. I think it was less a placeholder and more a proving ground. It was a test bed for trying new things, because they tried a bunch of things, especially with the 3D aspect, but also with stereoscopic, with different kind of gameplay tropes. And there was a lot of good data they got out of it. Same with the Wii U. By the end of the Wii U was just kind of, I felt it was more like an experiment. Like, what can we do? How can we try new things? Especially like Star Fox Zero. That was a different way of playing, because you had two view screens that both looked at different aspects of the in-game environment. And that's a really interesting premise. Can you play a game by spatial awarenessing using two sources of data? You're looking at the screen and you're seeing a wide form, and then you're looking on there and you're seeing the enemies come before they appear on the other screen. So it's literally two sources of information. And can you kind of work around it to create a fighting flight style game? Noble endeavor. Didn't work. It didn't work. It was terrible. It was an awful game, and you know, only people I know who have played it personally, you know, they've got PTSD from it. They're like, you hate that game. I feel sad because I love Star Fox. I love the first one. Star Fox 64 was one of my favorite games. I played that game to death. and having it come back and be so lambasted. It's frustrating. But, you know, good on you for trying.
Yeah.
Shigeru Miyamoto's known for changing the way you play. He's all about new ways to play. And I can see this being one of his babies. You know, he went back to an old game to try something new. Didn't work, but lots of other things did, you know? The Donkey Kong series on the Wii U was fantastic.
Yeah.
But nobody played them because they were on the Wii U. Port them over to the Switch, baby. They have been sold like crazy. Hell, so well that they're even releasing the first one of the series, Donkey Kong Country Returns. Again, I completed that on the 3DS, you know?
Dude,
So-
yeah, that is it.
Yeah, thank you for your comment, but we don't know what direction they want to take the console in, and we don't know what the landscape is, the political landscape is going to be in with it.
Yeah.
Give it a year or two, we can start making predictions. We can start saying yes and no and ups and downs. But I think that they are leaning into the AR, not just with the games, but also because they want to pilot the technology and experiment with their console, and then start doing it at their theme parks, at events. We're going to see Mario appearing in places you didn't expect.
Yeah, yep, definitely. This is it, people. This is why we speculate and talk so much. Next week, I imagine, we got a lot of stuff to get through news-wise. So I'll try and keep these. I'll try and separate our speculation discussions to special episodes. But especially if Professor Suzuka comes next week, and I'll jump right into business. And probably people, when I get Gamer, because I just love listening to Gamer Dan's insight. I throw an idea out and he throws it, and I'm like, yeah, let's keep talking. But then I'm like, no, I couldn't show you the footage.
Don't thank me, buddy. You contribute as well. It is a whole bouncing off of each other. I couldn't do this alone.
Cheers, mate. And people will be back next week. Have a good one. And I'll keep. Yemen's got more videos.
I am working hard to kind of get ahead of it because I promised that when these big Nintendo titles came out, I would be on it, bang on, straight from day one. But that does mean I kind of want to get the Bear and the Bird. I want to get Banjo done before that. So I might take a pause. I've got a few more Midnight Sun videos, but I might just put a pin in that for a while and just get the Nintendo stuff done because it's freaking new Zelda. I can't help myself. I have a week. I have a week. Impulse control. Okay, I can't help myself. This is a new Zelda. I'm not doing anything but playing this game. All right, just doing it.
You can't be unreasonable, people. Sorry about Zelda. Yeah.
I got my I have my priorities. I have my work. I have family and friends, but it's new freaking Zelda. So come on.
That is it, people. Sorry, that's our priority. Well, we'll catch you next time, people. Thank you, Gamer Dan. We really appreciate your insight and so on. And looking forward.
No worries, but it's always fun. And let's do some more comments. Like, people, if you're watching the videos, we want to hear from you. I want to hear your thoughts. I mean, obviously, I'm going to jump on the Bear and the Bird, get a few more videos done, get that finished, and upload it as soon as possible. Because if you're watching it, I will. If you are interested, we will do it. I will make some more videos. MatMadik will jump on and make some more videos. If you want it, we will provide.
Yep. Oh, and
if you build it, they will come.
That is it. And thanks again for Creole Queen and Broom Rider. Oh no, that's a strange name in my opinion. But anyway, well, it depends on what writing means. If you
first thing comes to mind, Quidditch.
Oh, good. Yeah, nothing's sorted. Anyway, sorry, Broom Rider. I'm just messing around. Anyway, catch you next time.
Catch you next time. Peace.
Bye.